Hey everybody, I'm just reading. It looks like Kirsten, Maureen, Christine, Charmaine on Zoom. Awesome. I'm Marion. So you guys are probably ready to rock and roll. Is it 7:30 yet? 6:30. Even better. All right, let's go. Let's hop on the bike. Get in a nice easy gear. Let me get my clock started. Whew. Warm in Seattle finally. I'm up here in my attic area, so it's warmer today. All right, here we go. 45 minutes. If you're not warmed up, which probably is most of you, make sure you're in a nice easy gear to start with. You'll be in the small chain ring. If you're just waking up, I got in about a 10-minute warm up before we started, but what I noticed is that the first 5 minutes are pretty groggy. So if you just hang out here in a nice easy gear, and then maybe every minute just switch one gear harder, it's a really nice way to just very slowly ramp up your intensity. And I found by about minute 5, I tend to feel alive. So for the first 5 minutes, maybe it's just going through the motions. So for myself, I'm pretty excited for today because, as you know, on Monday, my legs were spent, and so I didn't feel like I really got to participate, although I was here. So anyway, I'm excited about today for myself because I can ride harder. Couple cool things, at least one cool thing. I was out riding the last 2 days. Yesterday I was riding more flat out on the trail and noticed that it was really pretty easy for me to on a flat section, keep my cadence 93 to 98, and I was doing it, and I kept switching into a harder gear, and I was keeping my cadence up at above 90, and it was really exciting. And I think a lot of that has come from just these classes, especially working on the low cadence work and the high cadence work. So anyway, I would invite you to play around with that when you're outside. It looks like Seattle. I know most all of you. Some of you are watching this from not Seattle, but here anyway, we're finally getting some good weather. So those of you that can get outside in the coming days on a flat section, if you have cadence on your bike, pay attention to it. See if it just feels easier to spin at a higher rate, and then just play around. What gear can you get into and still keep it above 90? And there's going to come a point where the gear becomes too hard and you can't keep your cadence above 90. So I'm not suggesting that you just keep pushing, but basically, what gear can you ride in above 90 cadence and still ride aerobically, still have a conversation? And so that's just one way, that in itself can be a benchmark. And the more, the bigger gear you can ride in, keeping your cadence above 90 and still be aerobic, every time you notice an improvement, that's an indication both of maybe your cycling mechanics and your fitness. So awesome, thanks. All right, we're 3 minutes in. Let me tell you about the workout. We're going to warm up for 10 minutes. Then we're going to do 2 sets of 45 seconds. First one, we're going to do low cadence. So it's not going to be super hard. We're just going to work on feeling the pedal stroke, finding the power coming back through the pedal stroke. 45 seconds rest. And then we're going to do 2 sets, 45 on, 45 off, of high cadence. Then we'll just do a couple minutes aerobic. Then we'll get into the main set, which is 4 sets, so 4 times through of a 5-minute block. So we're going to do it a little bit differently today. The bulk of the workout is still aerobic, but what we're going to do is we're going to get in the big chain ring, and we're going to get in our easiest big chain ring gear, and right away we're going to switch down 4 gears. And so that first gear, we're going to naturally rise above our aerobic ceiling, and it's going to be uncomfortable. And then each minute, we're going to switch one gear easier. And so what we're going to do is do that 5 times. The 5th minute will be a very easy recovery. But the idea of this is to bring up our intensity and our heart rate, and then for the next 3 minutes, recover while we're cycling. So we're going to go harder effort, and then while we go aerobic, we're going to recover aerobically, and then on the sets 2, 3, and 4, you can evaluate that gear choice and maybe go a little bit harder, and that might depend on how many gears you have. So if you're new to this, if you haven't been joining us, you might even start these on your small chain ring. Or if you're a little bit tired, you can start them on your small chain ring, the first of 4 sets. So that'll make it a bit easier. But we're still going to get the same principle, which is raising our heart rate and then riding for 3 more minutes while we recover. Because that's one of the things that came up maybe a week ago. We were talking about coasting, and I think people get into the habit of recover by stopping pedaling and by coasting. And it's fine to do coast once in a while. If you're tired, maybe you need to, and maybe sometimes you need to coast when you're coming up to an intersection, or if you're coming down a road and maybe there's driveways or something and you just want to take a pause and for safety. But in general, we want to recover by pedaling. We don't want to get a habit of coasting all the time. One of the really good things about continuing your pedal stroke, even if you're in a really easy gear, oh man, always happens to me. I forgot to hit my start on my CompuTrainer, so I had no resistance. So I was in the big chain ring, and it's like just felt way too easy. But anyway, when you're in an easy gear and you're keeping your cadence up, it makes it really easy to accelerate. It's very hard to go from coasting to pedaling again and then to accelerate. So you just use your gears when you're outside to monitor your speed, but we're keeping the cadence the same. And if you want to slow down, go to an easier gear, keep your cadence up. You'll naturally slow down. If you want to speed up, same cadence, harder gear, and you'll speed up. So keep it consistent in your pedal stroke. If you are, well, I was gonna say, if you are watching this workout, you can keep it comfortable the whole time. It's not going to be necessarily that hard because it's more of an aerobic workout. Monday was a harder workout. And then next week, Monday is a climbing session. And Thursday, we're going to repeat this workout. And then the following week, I'm going to flip it. And the harder workout is going to come on Thursday and the easier workout on Monday. And mainly that's just to give people coming out of the weekend somewhat more of a recovery workout. So Thursday can be a little bit harder. For a lot of people, Friday is like a rest day. And so then you have that natural rest coming off of a harder bike ride on Thursday. All right, if you haven't already switched through some harder gears, now's your chance. Right now I'm in the big chain ring in one of my easier gears. Oh man, that's why I'm sweating. I forgot to turn the fan on. I'm gonna have to get off the bike and turn on my fan because I was dripping sweat and thinking to myself, it's way too early to be dripping sweat. So you keep riding. I'll be right back. Whew. Did my clock stop or did it keep going? Probably stopped. All right. I'm going to say you guys are pretty close to a 10-minute warm-up. Okay, we're going to do 2 times 45 seconds slow cadence. So get in the big chain ring. Get in one of your easier gears. And then let's shift down maybe 2, 3, 4 gears harder. Ready? Here we go. What we're looking for is to find a place where you have a fair amount of tension in your pedal stroke. We're not pushing really hard effort-wise, but I want you to feel resistance in the pedal stroke all the way through. So you can use your gears to find that. So right now, my cadence is 69. So what we're looking for is somewhere like between 65 and 75. I just went to a gear harder, which dropped it to 65. Okay, recover. So go back all the way to your easy gear in the big chain ring. Remember, the easiest gear in the big chain ring means you're not using your 2 inside gears next to your wheel. Those are reserved for your small chain ring. Okay, so just spin it out. Bring your cadence up just simply to flush out the muscles. But the resistance should be very light. If the resistance is not very light, you probably need to go to the small chain ring. Okay, so think about that gear you're in last time. Maybe you want to go gear harder. Maybe you want to go same gear, but we'll bring the intensity up slightly. Ready? Here we go. So if you're in the same gear, maybe just try bringing your cadence closer to 75. If you're, another way to make it a slightly harder is go 1 gear harder. Really think about your posture. Elongate your spine. Just draw your belly button in slightly, nice and strong. Relax arms and hands. Okay, last 10 seconds-ish. Go to 1 gear harder and just really work on pulling through the bottom of the pedal stroke. It's okay if you get a little bit of leg fatigue. All right, go ahead and recover. So, very easy gear. That can be the big chain ring, can be the small chain ring. All right, now we're gonna do 2 times 45 seconds high cadence. So for some of you, it can be in one of your easier gears in the big chain ring. You can also do the same thing in the small chain ring and possibly one of your harder gears or maybe even the middle. Let's go to the small chain ring. And then play around with your gearing. Find something that just feels sort of a moderate amount of tension in the pedal stroke. And then when we start, maybe go 1 gear harder. Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna go 1 gear harder, bring your cadence up. Now we're looking for way above 90. Basically as much as you can. And when you start to feel the bounce, then that's a good place to be, because now we want to really try to minimize the bounce through best cycling form practices. And if you're bouncing too much, you may need to go 1 gear harder. All right, start shifting to an easier gear to recover. Okay, so you can either stay there, or if you want, you can go up to the big chain ring in your easy gear. And we can try one here. And again, maybe just see how this tension feels in the pedal stroke. So for me right now, very, not that much effort. I'm doing 85 cadence. so I can stay here and lift the cadence. I'm going to go probably 1 or 2 gears harder. Okay, so let this one be a little bit harder as far as intensity goes. Ready? Here we go. So I'm at 98 right now. So if you don't have cadence, then you just try to match your legs to my legs. 98, 97. 99. So you can tell for me right around, as I get up to 100, it's when I naturally start to bounce more. So opportunity for me to work on my body mechanics. All right, recover. Let's go with small chain ring. Find a nice easy gear. Get some hydration. Towel off if you start to sweat. All right, the main set total is 20 minutes. The majority of that is upper aerobic. So it's going to be a pretty good workout. You're going to sweat. Remember, you can always lower the intensity just by choosing an easier gear. The idea, if you missed Monday and you're looking for a harder workout, you can certainly go up in intensity by choosing a harder gear. But the intention of this workout is not a super high intensity workout. It's more working for longer blocks right at our upper aerobic. And that's right where moderate starts to fade into moderately hard, but it's not hard. It's where comfortable starts to become slightly uncomfortable, but it's still not uncomfortable. So there's this gap between comfortable and uncomfortable, between moderate and moderately hard, right? There's this sliding scale. So we're going to go right up and kind of in the middle, upper end of that, and then work our way down to the bottom end of the aerobic zone, and then take a minute very easy. I'm going to go back up. So that's the progression of the workout. Okay, we're going to take a minute here. So I want you to play around with your gears. So go down to your small chain ring and your hardest gear. Remember, that means there's 2 gears you're not going to choose. How does this feel? If it starts to feel like you're, after a minute, going to be up in the uncomfortable zone, then you should start in your small chain ring. Go ahead and shift 1 gear easier, 1 gear easier again, 1 gear easier. If that gear that you were just in did not feel like it would bring you up into that uncomfortable zone, let's try the big chain ring. So shift through your gears, get in the big chain ring, and then start off in your easiest gear. Again, that means you have 2 gears you haven't selected. And let's go down like 4 gears. And for me, this definitely puts me in that position. So go back up 4 gears easier. Okay, so for me, I'm going to start in the big chain ring, easy gear. When we start, 4 clicks, ride there for a minute, every minute, 1 gear easier. Maybe for you, you're in the small chain ring and you start and you 4 clicks harder, and then you work your way back up to easy. Cool? All right, here we go. 1 minute. Here we go. Go. And then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so now I'm here. Stood up to just get a little bit of power on the pedals, because I definitely have pretty significant, not all out like we did low cadence, but pretty significant amount of resistance in the pedals. My cadence is only 82, trying to bring it up, but It's challenging because of the gear, but if I continue to work to bring it up, 83, 84, I'm starting to get in that place where I have to take breaths between my words. So that's perfect. 15 more seconds. Really try to push here. Try to find that uncomfortable place. Okay, one gear easier. So automatically, I feel my cadence come up. I'm at 91. Effort's still kind of the same. It's maybe starting to come down a little bit, and that's okay. So my challenge to myself is going to be keeping my cadence at 90, which I'm at right now. It's definitely not as hard. I can tell by just how I'm breathing. I'm watching the clock. Make sure I don't screw it up for you guys. So that was a pretty good place to start for me. I'll probably do the second one the same. Okay, in 5 seconds, we're going one gear easier. 3, 2, 1, one gear easier. This is what I, a lot of times would call gear of choice. So this feels really good, right? So your gear of choice is the gear that you naturally gravitate towards. Your cadence is nice and high, feels good. You're not working that hard. That's typically, the gear of choice. And your gear of choice changes depending on the terrain. If you're going up, it's a different gear, but it's the same feeling. The gear of choice is really kind of more about a feeling as much as it is about a particular gear. And you probably are starting to feel how you're already recovering. All right, we got one more minute, and we do a minute. Very easy. 3, 2, 1. One gear easier. Oops, I went harder. So now hopefully you're in a place where you feel like it's easy enough to drink if you need to. So for me, you can probably see that my cadence just shot up, even though that effort's still the same. Right now I'm like 94, 96 cadence, and the effort's easier. Okay, so on the next minute, if you're not already there, you can go to the small chain ring if you want, or you can recover in your easy gear and your big chain ring. I think I'll go to the small chain ring. But because of the gear I'm in, I'm going to shift like 3 gears harder on my right, and then easy gear on my left, or change my chain ring, just so the jump isn't quite as jolting. So minute, super easy. So as easy as you want, as long as you keep your legs going. Good chance to towel off the sweat. In my case, it's a good chance to change the music. So that was number 1. We got 3 more left. I don't know what I want to listen to, so that's a problem. All right, where are we at? 20 more seconds. So I'm going to start working my way back up to the big chain ring. And I'm going to start in the same gear. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go 4 clicks harder. Man, see, it's already coming up. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. So go ahead and bring your cadence up as you switch through your gears. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, this is where the work is. If you need to, you can stand up. That just delivers more power to your pedals. So when you sit down, you can try to get your cadence up. So this is the minute where you can really work. This is your hardest minute of the set. You know it's only going to get easier. Try to get into like what feels uncomfortable if we were to stay here. Not necessarily hard, maybe just below what feels hard. We want our breathing rate to really increase. Coming up on 5 seconds. Go one gear easier, 3, 2, 1. One gear easier. Already a relief, right? But now we got to work on our cadence. So our effort right now is going to come from lifting our cadence. In that previous gear, the effort was really the resistance in the pedal stroke. So now it's a bit of a combination between pedal resistance, cadence, effort. All right, one gear easier in 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go. Here I am again in my gear of choice. You know when you're in your gear of choice, when like you hit that gear and you say to yourself, it's like you can relax a little bit. You know, it just feels better. And maybe the next gear is your gear of choice. Maybe the last one was. But just identifying that feeling. It's like, yes, this is comfortable. This is my motor pattern. And then this is where we can take your gear of choice and we can just slowly work on making the next gear up feel this easy. Because when it does, it means you're going to be going faster. So for me, like I can keep my cadence at 90 without too much effort here. Okay, one gear easier. And then now, as soon as I made that gear shift, popped right up to 93, 95. So if you're above 90, that's great. If you're not at 90 cadence, definitely get there. So another way to do this workout would be like just using myself, thinking maybe you're feeling the same thing. But I could do that 1 minute hard, or, you know, uncomfortable, and then maybe a minute and a half on the next one, and then 2 minutes, and then 3 minutes. That would be a way of elongating it. So just an idea for you. If you're looking to write some workouts for yourself. Okay, we're gonna go recover now. So small chain ring, maybe in the middle, lower end of the gear cluster. Find a gear initially that was like little to no tension and just let your legs spin out. If you start bouncing too much, go to one gear harder, but very little tension. This is our recovery. This is your chance to drink. Okay, we got 2 left. So if you want to challenge yourself, you can go start off in 1 gear harder. But I just tell you for myself, I don't necessarily need to do that. I might do it, but where we were working is right where is what I was intending. So let's get in the big chain ring. So how we've been working is exactly what I intended for the workout. This is your opportunity. Stay there or go 1 gear harder. We're gonna go in 3 seconds. So let's bring our cadence up and then let's just start switching your gears. Find that gear. Oh yeah. Ooh. So I might have to stand up quite a bit. So I chose to start in one gear harder. So I'm curious, I want to see how much harder the set is when I get in the minutes 2, 3, and 4. So as I mentioned about elongating the back end, starting in a gear harder is another way of adding progressive overload. And for me, I'd say this is a little bit above what I intended. Okay, one gear easier. However, for me, I was kind of looking for a little bit tougher workout today, so like I'm okay with that choice. On the next one, I'll go back to where we did number 1 and number 2. Yeah, much harder. Yeah. Okay, 3, 2, 1 gear easier. All right, 1 gear easier in 5 seconds. Ready to go. All right, now that I can talk again, another way that I could have done this workout like for myself is how I went to that harder gear. And then on the second minute, I could have shifted 2 gears easier to get back. So if I just wanted to raise the intensity on the first minute, 1 more gear harder, and then second minute, boom, 2 gears down. So that would be a way of just increasing that first minute and having the rest be the same. I'm going to try that next time, mainly because I'm curious to see how it feels. Some of this I like to experiment because I'm trying to figure out how it feels for me so I can try to understand how it feels for you for like next time. All right, small chain ring recover minute. Whew, nice job. I definitely need to towel off. You're sweating when it starts coming through the pores on your arms, and then you towel off and it's like being in a humid place. It just comes right back. So it's a good lesson too, just like that 1 gear makes a big difference, right? I went up that 1 extra gear in that first minute and everything else was under strain. Same thing you're riding outside. Literally 1 gear choice can make the big difference in how you feel. Awesome to hear you guys are sweating through your arms. I don't think that's a term, but all right, here we go. Let's get in the big chain ring. And this is, you pick your gearing. Ready? Here we go. Go. All right, I'm starting back where I started on number 3, but when I shift down, I'm going to shift down 2 gears. And hopefully on Zoom, you guys can encourage each other. Ay, ay, ay. So I'm more in the hard zone than the uncomfortable zone. All right, we're coming up at 5 seconds to an easier gear, whether that's 1 or 2 gears easy. Ready, go. So right now, this is where like I'm starting to recover. I'm not coasting. I'm still pedaling. I'm still working. But slowly but surely, my recovery will start to come back. Out on the road, this might be where I take a micro recovery. Maybe I go 1, 2 gears easier, bring my cadence up, and I'll find that I'll recover really fast and then go right back to a harder gear. You know, in general, when you're riding outside, there should be a lot more shifting than less shifting. Doesn't mean you're shifting all the time, but you want to use your gears to compensate for the road. Ready? 1 gear easier. And very few places, maybe the Midwest is different, but unless you're out on the trail, very few places does the road not change. All right, so I can just tell I'm back in that gear of choice for myself. You know, this is where I call my sweet spot. Everything feels right. I can turn my legs over at 91, 92 with just a tiny bit of effort. This is the effort and the gear, you know, that I could ride all day in. So that's also where you probably find your gear of choice, is that one you could just ride and ride and ride. All right, now we got 1 gear easier in 3, 2, 1, go. Now this is kind of more of a micro recovery gear. Even that gear of choice is also more of a recovery gear. It's also, I just took a drink. It's like, reminds me, and you probably do this intuitively, but when you're riding outside and things get easier, like if you're in a group, is where you typically, or if you're not, we should take a drink. You want to use those moments when the road is calm, no hidden driveways, no cars. Maybe the pace eases a little bit to fuel up, because that way, if it gets harder, you're ready to go. You're not surprised by it. Whew. All right. Small chainring, nice and easy. Find a gear with very little tension. Nice job, everybody. Whew. Hopefully that was a good workout for you. As always, let me know. Too easy, too hard. I didn't want it to be super hard though, so if you said it wasn't super hard, then that's cool. If you sweated a lot and it wasn't super hard, even better. If it was super hard, then maybe that's on me. Maybe that's also a matter of choosing different gears, right? We're all a little bit individual in where we are coming into this. Maybe you're just getting started. Maybe you've been at it for 8 weeks. So we're all in a different place. And that's the beauty of it, is, you know, using these workouts to get what you need out of it, not what I need out of it or what I want you to need out of it. You know, I used to, back in the days of spin classes, they drove me nuts because they're really not cycling based for the most part. They're aerobics on a bike. And so I would just go in the back of the class and I would ride like I ride a bike. So when they would stand up for 15 seconds and, you know, go super hard and destroy your quads, I would just sit down, sit back there and ride. But anyway, I don't know, do they still do spin classes? They probably do. Probably on Peloton, they have a ton of, I think they have a lot of great cycling workouts, but they probably also have a lot of aerobics on a bike. That's what they should change the name to. All right, enough of that. Let's do this. Get yourself in the small chain ring. Get yourself somewhere in the middle of your gear cluster in the back. So you can just take a peek. Get your chain in the middle. We're going to go big chain ring without shifting our right side, which is not what I would normally do, but we're going to do this specifically because as we do that, I want you to stand up for about maybe 4 to 5 revolutions. And then I want you to sit down. And when you sit down, I want you to feel how you have more power in your seated position. Okay? There we go. Big chain ring. And you find it gets pretty hard, right? So go ahead and stand up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sit down. And you feel that power right there. Now switch one gear easier. And so that's a way, too, of like boosting your cycling outside. So let's go down. Let's go 3 clicks harder on the right. 1, 2, 3. Now go easy, small chain ring. So if we had just gone to small chain ring, your knees would lurch out of their sockets. So we want to ease that transition from big chain ring to small chain ring by going at first a little bit harder in the big chain ring because we're anticipating when we go down to the small chain ring, we're not going to have that shock that like feels like it wants to rip your knee out. So let's do it one more time. So hopefully you're still working aerobically. I don't want you to get like super high since we're cooling down. So small chain ring, somewhere in the middle of your gear cluster. If you want, you can try maybe a gear harder than last time. Okay, we're gonna go big chain ring and we're gonna stand up. Ready? Go. Then go like 4 full pedal strokes. Then sit down. Feel that power, maybe switch 1 or 2 gears easier, and you can really boost your power when you're out there cycling like that. Okay, let's go easy gear, big chain ring. So it should be nice and aerobic here. If not, go to the small chain ring. So a lot of times, you know, let's say you're going up a very, like a, not super steep, but it goes up enough, right? And then you know at the top of that, there's a leveling off and a downward period. And maybe as a way of shifting gears, all you do is stand up and you crest the rise of the hill and then you sit down and you have that power and then you're going downhill and you have the power, right? So that's essentially, that's a gear change without changing gears. And another thing that just came to me when I was out riding yesterday, and I was thinking about the whole coasting thing. And here's what happens when you coast a lot is, and this would typically have this like rolling hills course, and you get up to the top and you coast because you want to take a break instead of keeping your cadence up. So what happens is you are giving away free momentum going down the hill. The more momentum you have going down, and as you start going up, you get a lot of momentum, you get up here before you start cycling again by using effort in your legs. If you have little momentum, you get here, and now you got to start working hard. So the person that comes down this little grade with as much speed and as much momentum as possible gets up here before they have to start working. So you're actually working a lot harder when you coast because you're not taking advantage of that momentum. There's a great place on the Burke Gilman out by Kenmore where you go underneath 2 roads, so underpasses. And, you know, they're perfect because you're going down there and you kind of want to coast, you know, because it's fun. But if you get into a bigger gear and keep the same cadence, your speed really goes up. And what happens is you go underneath and flatten out. You really get up that ramp pretty quickly, and then you can switch gears and you make it up to the top pretty easily. But if you go down there coasting and you go down slow, then it's a lot of work to get out of that. So Mercer Island is a great place too for practicing those undulations and trying to keep your momentum over the top of the rise and then down on the other side, really pick up that momentum. And so start doing it in a way where you can keep your cadence up and you can recover. So you don't have to, you can keep cycling and recovering as opposed to only knowing how to recover by stopping pedaling. So if there's a lesson in today, that's it. I can't read because I have old eyes, but I'll read them when I get off. Let's go small chain ring. Let's just go like a minute, super easy. And then that way I can push you beyond 45 minutes, which seems to be what I like to do. So if you want to get in more cycling, you can stay here, spin it out another 5-10 minutes. I hope that you guys get out on some great rides this weekend. Today is the first day of my vacation. Yes. 4 days off, plus the weekend. Probably like most of you, I literally have only taken 1 day vacation this whole year just because everything got canceled. But life doesn't get canceled. We don't get canceled. All right. So I'm going to stop now. 45, 55. I'll go to 46 minutes. As all athletes, we're compulsive that way. All right, everybody. Thank you. See you later.